Hey, welcome to Authors on the Air. I'm guest host Maddie Dawson, and today I get to talk to author Kerry Anne King about her new book. How are you doing?
Hi, Maddie. I'm doing awesome. Thank you. And I have to say, it just looks so lovely behind you. You're all,
This is such a great time of year, isn't it? September. I'm in Connecticut and it's 70 degrees and just, feeling wonderful out here on my little screen porch. Yeah.
fabulous.
I know what's coming though.
It is, but it's okay. Winter's good.
It is true. All of it's good. All of it's good. So, your book, and probably yours, is so fantastic. I feel so lucky to have been an early reader of it. And I can't wait until you can share it with everyone.
Me either. And also, I have to say, I'm lucky that you were an early reader of it. Thank you for the support and encouragement.
Tell me, how many books have you written?
Okay, I'm not going to count the couple that are shelf novels because I've written one, two, three, or four that will never probably see the light of day. This is lucky number 13, which is really kind of fun because it's coming out in October, the end of October, close to Halloween, and it's lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, were you one of these people who knew from the time you were born, like in the delivery room, did you say you wanted to be an author?
Yeah, pretty much probably.
You put them all on notice right away.
I did, yes.
How long have you been writing, really?
I have been writing, well, since I figured out how to write, little notes and things. It was always fascinating to me seeing how the letters made words and words made sentences. So very fun. It was around about 6th grade that I actually decided that maybe I, might be a writer when I grew up.
Fantastic. And you took some career detours, right?
Lots of career
Right.
detours.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, I don't anymore consider them detours. It's
No,
like
they're not
all I
really.
did at the time, but it's all life experience.
It's
And
all fodder, isn't it?
every book that I write draws heavily on all of those things that I've done. Everything from lumber piling to nursing to temp secretarial work to the psych stuff that I've done. It all totally plays into creating characters and understanding what makes people do the things they do.
That's really true, isn't it? All of our life experience contributes. So this
Absolutely.
book, let's get to probably yours. What was the spark that got this book going in your head?
Oddly enough, for me, because it's usually a character or sometimes a plot idea, it was the house, improbable house that sparked this whole book for me. So I had forgotten this actually. I was sitting down the other day and I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. The house was the very first thing. And I was sitting down playing and I remember writing something like no matter what they did, the house would not stay maintained, or the house was grieving. I think that's maybe how I started it. The shingles would fall off, the paint would not stay painted, the lawn would not stay mowed, and there were ravens that wanted to roost on the roof. And so then I had to start thinking, all right, so if I have this house, where is it? Who's going to be in it? What kind of a story is this going to be? And so it just all kind of grew from there.
That is fascinating, isn't it? So the whole thing with your main character Blythe and all, you didn't know anything about her until you knew.
No, no, not yet. No, no, she came next. So I'm like, all right, well, who's going to have to, discover this house, and how is that going to happen? Where the house is, of course, that led to creating a whole, I've never done this before. I created an entire island that did not exist, which was very fun. So I wanted to put it kind of in the San Juans. And if you're not familiar with my part of the world in the Pacific Northwest, there's San Juan Islands are off of the Seattle area into Canada, where Vancouver Island actually is that way. So there's this whole scattering of large and small islands, many of which have people who live on them. I picked one for my research purposes called Waldron Island, which is small and only has like a handful of people that live on it. And so I kind of needed kind of a location, and that's how I started building Vinland.
You created just such an amazing storyline involving the game and the treasure hunts and people coming. I mean, it was so convincing that I wanted to sign up for one of those tours.
I want to sign up for one of those
I know.
tours.
I think you need to do that. You need to make this actually happen. It's just fascinating. And what I really love too is that the book has a lot of side characters in addition to the main characters, and yet we don't get confused. You just touch on them lightly. They all have their little personalities and their little quirks, but we're so focused on the story of Blythe and so focused on Flynn and the grouchy old man that's on the island and all of the people who work there. It really must have been so much fun to write. Was it
It
fun?
it really was. Yes. Yes, it was fun. I had a kick writing it. There was, Vikings,
Oh my, yeah,
grouchy Vikings, a talking raven, an island with a treasure hunt, a main character who's, as most of my main characters are, really trying to find herself and discover where she fits in the world and find her better life rather than the one that's been handed to her. I
right.
love all those things. Oh, and let's not forget the 12-year-old girl, because she
Let's
was
not
really
forget.
fun to write as well. Savannah
Yeah.
was a challenge, but a kick.
She's such an incredible character because she's grieving, and you just put forth her character so well, and she's so realistic as this kind of independent young woman, who's good, just she's going to be all right.
Right.
It's lovely. It's lovely how you did that. Did you know how it was going to end?
I thought I did. I thought I did until I didn't. I mean, I knew generally. I know how I want my characters all to kind of, come
Yeah,
together in the end, but how I got there ended up being very different. There was originally this huge, can I talk about this? No, I better not because I don't want to. I was going to do a thing
what
that I actually spent a lot of time on, and I called somebody who was an expert and had a conversation, figured out a whole bunch of things, and then realized that my characters wouldn't do the thing that I was going to make them do.
Yeah,
So,
isn't that amazing when that happens? Like,
yeah,
you really know you're dealing with real people and not imaginary people.
they're not imaginary anymore.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
Sometimes they
nope.
wake you up in the middle of the night to announce that fact to you,
Yeah, I know, right? 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, hey, guess what? Your whole plot is not anymore going to work for you
Yeah,
because I have decided that
and
I'm
sometimes they say things like, "And by the way, I had a brother, I didn't even tell you about him." So,
or like in my last book, a whole main lead romance character who,
yes,
what
showed
been,
up.
yeah, just
We
showed
weren't
up.
even done with the book, and he came in.
He did.
I know, he was a little late. He was tardy, but
It's
he
pretty
busy.
late.
Yeah. You marked him tardy.
I did.
I guess that's what makes this life so fun, though, isn't it? Because it would just be so boring to do it any other way, I think.
I think so too. You and I know we both write that way. And there are those people who know pretty much exactly what's going to happen all the way through the book. And I just, they seem to find comfort in that. And if you're
I
a plotting type, I understand that you want to know what's going to happen. I don't really. I like
I don't
surprises.
either. I love the surprise. And a good day of writing is when you're just writing along, and then all of a sudden, oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Although, just really, Maddie, does it ever happen for you when you're actually writing along? Like
it
that
does.
that moment happens? Because
Yeah.
for me, that moment happens for me when I'm in the shower or I'm mowing
Oh,
the lawn or perhaps I'm driving somewhere. That's when I have those moments of the
right.
big lights going, usually,
Yeah. No, for me, it kind of happens when I'm right there. And
yeah.
it's usually like I'm writing a scene and it's kind of going along, and I'm thinking, I'm getting a little bored here. And then, woo,
Okay.
something else has to come, and it does. It just shows up.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does. There was a one I ran a writing workshop for a while, and we went around the room the first day, and people were telling about the novels they were writing, and a woman told me this novel. It was like a reading. It could have been a reading. It was a 400-page novel. She's telling every little thing that happens, and we get all the way done. I say, so how far have you written on it? She said, oh, I haven't written a word of it yet. And you may be surprised to know it never got written because
Yeah.
it won't when you know all of that. There's
Right, right, because
no
it doesn't
payoff.
for me, that's what drives it. It's the same thing as reading, really, in a way. Writing for me and reading are very closely related. And I write very much the same way I read, in that I want to know what happens next. And if
Yeah,
I don't care what happens next, then I have to go back to a place in the plot where I did care and
right.
work from there.
That's so true for me too. It absolutely is true. So you have some things planned for this book.
I
Can
do.
you tell us about them?
I can because it's so much fun. So one of the things that I love treasure hunts. I mean, who doesn't, right? So ever since I was a kid, the Easter egg things or the parties with the treasure hunts, those were all so fun. I love that kind of stuff. And so then I got to write a book with a treasure hunt. By the way, part of what the Viking and I did to prepare for this was we bought a metal detector and we did a little metal detecting. Not enough. We want to do more because you might find
Mm,
something,
yeah.
right? So, because I feel I'm probably not the only one who thinks it's fun to find things, I put together a treasure hunt. And if you want to play, you're going to be looking for clues. You're going to be looking for a clue on various Instagram, cram it in there.
We could
Um,
do that. Yeah.
on Instagram stops. And if you want to play, you can download your own treasure map at Improbably Yours Treasure. It's a bit.ly link, actually. So it's bit.ly, Improbably Yours Treasure. And you can get a treasure map, and then you can just kind of find your words every day and play along. And I hope it'll be fun. And there's fabulous prizes. I made a t-shirt. I created a Vinland t-shirt,
Oh,
and there's a beautiful little necklace with a raven and a world tree
wow.
on it, and you get the treasure chest if you win the grand prize also. So,
So all these are symbols from the book too. Can you
yes.
talk about those? What's the significance of the ravens? Is it just the ravens on the roof or
Well, the ravens on the roof, I love ravens. Okay,
yeah.
so
Oh,
ravens really, they're so mystical. They're so
mhm.
big, they live so long, they're so smart. We think of them as kind of a messenger from the beyond. We also have a raven and a Viking at my house.
Wow.
So, um, the raven that we have is huge for starters. We think it's been around for a very long time. They can live like 30 years.
Oh my goodness.
So, and it's very, very, very big. And what happened was we have a cat who's a avid hunter, and he would leave us little presents in the backyard, and the Viking would fling them over the fence so the dog wouldn't get them.
Yeah.
And the raven noticed this behavior and started coming around to pick up the dead little critters that we threw over the fence. And then it began flying over, kind of asking for dead little critters. He would fly
Really?
over and make sure that his shadow flew over the Viking. So the Viking made a little platform on the fence, which is like the raven altar, and he would leave, the kills of the day on there. And if there were no kills, then he started buying things for the ravens. So he buys suet and makes little balls, or, took all the skin off the chicken for a month, which I was not happy with because I like my
I
crunchy
like
chicken
this
skin.
one. Yeah.
The raven was getting all the skin. So anyway, so we have this raven. It's very cagey. We very, very seldom see it actually come down. It'll fly over, it'll talk to us.
Mm.
And every now and then we see it actually come and get its offering. So this is, um,
That is so fascinating. I don't think I've
yeah.
ever known that story. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
so it was very fun to put a talking raven in the book because they
Yeah.
do learn to talk if they've been, raised from babies as
Wow.
Savannah's pet raven is. His name is Norman, by the way.
Norman. Yes.
Norman the Raven. Why not?
That's fantastic. Do you wanna talk about the relationship between, Blythe and her grandmother, Nomi? That's a
Yeah,
part of the book.
yeah, Nomi is the grandmother I think I always wanted and never had. I see the relationships like you have with your granddaughters, and Barbara O'Neill and hers, and these
Yeah.
these other people. I don't have any grandchildren. My grandmothers, I had two. One of them was the type who sent you to bed at 7 o'clock on a summer day and fed you leftover cold oatmeal for breakfast. Yes,
Oh, no.
I'm not kidding. She was a good person. She loved us very much. She was very no nonsense. My other grandmother was the kind that would give you money to go to the ice cream store and feed you anything you wanted. But she lived far away from us, and we were never really close. So
Oh,
Nomi is this wonderful grandmother who plays magic games with Blythe when she's a child and um, pretends,
mm,
probably,
yeah.
at least we think at the beginning of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
story, to
right.
see things in a not a crystal ball, but a snow globe.
Oh,
And she just has this wonderful, caring, nurturing, playful relationship with Blythe that I think every child would just
yeah,
die to have with somebody,
right,
right?
right. And then the plot just goes from there with this little map that they do.
Right. Well, and they do a map. So, and when the story actually starts, Nomi has been dead for quite some time. And so when Blythe on her 30th birthday receives a bequest from Nomi with a map to an island that she doesn't think really exists, that's where the whole adventure begins. And it takes her away from a life she really wasn't wanting to an adventure where she finds a sort of grumpy Viking with a soft. I wonder where that came
I
from.
wonder, yeah.
And this orphaned, grieving child who is tied to, connected to, in ways we don't understand at the beginning, to Improbable House, which is where Blythe ends up
Right.
spending her treasure hunting time on the island.
Yeah. It's a beautiful story, and when I was reading it, I could not stop turning the pages, which I always feel with your books. The very
Yay!
book of yours that I read was I Wish You Happy, and I was going to my daughter's wedding, and I had it, and I was supposed to read it to write a blurb for it, and I missed events because I read that book. You just have a way of pulling people in so much.
Oh, thank
This
you.
book is just readers are going to be so happy to have it out there. It's
I
really
hope so. It's a book that I hope is a good thing for. We've been through some hard stuff lately, and really,
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to write something that would take you all on an adventure, get you out of your everyday life, treat you to some maybe a little bit of magical matchmaking, a little mystical house, and some treasure hunting, and let you have some fun.
And seeing somebody being independent and real and getting herself out of a life that we know wasn't right. And it sounds on paper like a perfectly good life. It's not
Yeah.
a terrible life.
For somebody else.
For
And
somebody else,
and I
it's
think that's
not
the
her.
it's a perfect life for somebody else, but
Yeah,
not for her. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And you just did that so beautifully and with such little touches of humor in it. And I just love it.
Thank you, Maddie.
You are so welcome.
So just a quick, if you're trying to find me, you can find me on my website at allthingskerry.com. I am sometimes on Facebook, but not very often. And actually, don't look for me there. You find me more on Instagram, probably. Kerry Anne King with little underline things between the Kerry and Anne and my website. Get on
Great.
my newsletter, and then you'll
Yeah,
get,
you have a wonderful newsletter. Get on that list.
yeah. So
And
that's
that's
it.
allthingscarry.com, and then people can sign up for the newsletter there.
Allthingscary.com. Yeah. And the book is out October 18th, so you can pre-order now. It's
Yes,
everywhere, or you can grab yourself a copy on the 18th and
that's
get in on the treasure hunt at bit.ly.improbably yours treasure.
right, right. I can't wait. And I'm a stop on the treasure hunt. So my
Yes,
Instagram page will be there, and I am looking forward to people coming and finding my special word.
I'm looking forward to that too. All right. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Carrie. So great to talk to you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.